We invite Sri Ganeshan Ramani, Vice President and Head of Technology, Governance, Risk and Compliance at Mashreq Bank, to share his insights on AI, lifecycle governance, managing risk and controls. Sri Ramani has over 18 years of experience in technology risk management, IT governance, and cybersecurity across industries such as banking, telecom, and oil and gas. He has been instrumental in managing regulatory compliance, technology audits, and cybersecurity initiatives for Mashreq Bank, driving digital transformation while ensuring security and governance at the forefront. Please join me in giving a warm round of applause to Sri Ganeshan Ramani as he takes the stage.
Thank you, thank you. Thank you all. I hope I'm audible. Good. First of all, I would like to thank ISACA Hyderabad chapter for conducting a wonderful conference, and the theme is also very suiting, right? Intersection of AI, cybersecurity, and privacy. My today's topic, I'll just be spending 15 minutes. I have a strict timer. So I'll be just cutting across around AI, especially the risk and controls around AI and how it can impact cybersecurity and a privacy perspective, right? So that's the main idea. Of course, all these are like personal opinions. Quickly going on, I would be touching upon around 7 areas, right? What we have to focus on, right? So now there is a bigger race to go more towards AI. So what are the AI use cases which are available in the market, what people are trying to consider? And then, of course, how do we evaluate the AI use cases? It's very important for you to understand the need of evaluation. And a little bit around models, deployment, and how the system lifecycle should look like. And how do we see what are the various risks which are associated with the AI. And you have an existing risk and control framework in your organization. So what will AI intersect? A kind of a gist, how AI will intersect your existing IT risk and control framework. And of course, some of the practices to consider when we do this AI, right? So quickly going on to the world of AI. So AI has been there for more than 50, 60 years. And of course, it gained more popularity in the recent year because we made a lot of advancement in terms of computing. The computing power went on cheaper over a period of time, and then more models, learning, and everything came in. After the advent of cloud computing, really computing was made more democratic to everyone in the world, right? That's a basic reason why we get into it. And of course, we see AI being used in multiple industries for multiple purposes. For example, we started with data analytics for a long time, and then data analytics combined with AI gives you a lot more power, predictive analytics, personalization, natural language processing. All these things kind of give a very good scope. So we started with narrow AI, and then slowly it moved to a Gen AI, and we are heading towards super AI, right? So a lot of things came in. And of course, every industry tried to start this AI journey for basically operational excellence, reducing the manpower, increasing the turnaround time of fulfilling a request or a service. That's a place where everything got into it. And of course, with the augmented reality, virtual reality, seeing things, gaming industry. So these are all the places which got kind of implied in this AI. And of course, the information technology, you need a backbone, you need an application, you need a service to run all these things. So these things kind of triggered the AI use cases, and any product or service which is being developed is serving these kind of industries. And of course, it's not limited to banking, healthcare. Every industry started to embark on the AI journey and see how AI can be used for operational excellence, reducing the effort and stuff, right? So quickly moving on, the AI life cycle. So in artificial intelligence, it's important to kind of, you have an input, you have a process to be executed, and you need an output. How accurate we are getting over it. So that covers the life cycle. So for example, in the traditional days, we had the software development life cycle where the business will give you input. That input would be the business requirements. Based on the business requirements, you do a design. And based on the design will be turned into a development, and with the coding and everything. And then you have a testing, and then you have a user acceptance testing, and then finally you make the product live and you start using the product for a business application. Same thing here. You collect data, you process it, and you choose which model you want to do. So the models are again made of multiple algorithms and logic, and then you use the data and train the model. You give the data, input data, and train the model, evaluate the model, and if you feel that everything fits the bill, then you simply deploy the model and start seeing the output from the model, and then how do you maintain it. So it's a very, very similar analogy to the SDLC lifecycle. The only big difference is we are choosing something called model, and we are choosing so much of input data. So in earlier days, we develop a software or an application, and the application will be made live, and then the data starts filling there. Or you already have an application, you get into a new application, you migrate the data. Here, before the data is migrated, first you need to analyze the model, and that model has to be given, fed with data, so your accuracy increases, and then you generate the output. So it's very like to like, except you have to remember that in AI, you have data and model, okay? Simple as that. Quickly moving on, how do you evaluate, right? So there is a big race for AI. Everyone sees AI from different perspective. Product companies sees AI as an opportunity and say, my product is AI powered. Services industry says that I'm doing operational excellence and stuff like that by empowering AI, or I give services to my customers using AI kind of a thing. But again, because of the race to AI, we should not forget the basics and the common sense, right? So any solution we do a proper risk assessment, right? Risk assessment here is also a very key thing. And there are a lot of risk assessment parameters which comes in when it comes to AI. So it's not only about security or privacy, it is also about something called bias and fundamental rights. The data, whatever we give in. So in traditional models, you develop the software, you put into production, the data starts flowing in. Here, you're also adding the data. Who is ensuring the adequacy of the data? So whether it is business team, operation team, who gives you the data? And who attests you whether this data is pure from bias? All those things come. So if you're a security professional and an audit professional, when you're looking into an AI solution, please always think, what is the source of data for this AI solution? And how is this model picked up? Who can give me an independent assurance over that model integrity? All these things, the risk assessment is very important. And one more thing, we have to also always think whether this is a potential AI use case or not. If tomorrow business is coming and saying that I want to do a transformation, and the transformation for this I'm using an AI, you have to see without AI what is the current process, with AI what it changes, what benefits it provides to the organization, and if the benefit comes up with a risk or without a risk. If the risk is acceptable or non-acceptable, right? That is very important on risk assessment. And of course, you need to have the stakeholder engagement, get feedback, and there has to be a proper evaluation, whether it is worth of an AI. So sometimes you say that I'm going to give AI, and the cost of AI should not be more than if you're having 4 people doing a process, and you say I want AI and I want to completely eliminate. To do that AI project, if it takes 8 or 10 resources and it doubles up your budget, again, cost of controls versus cost of benefits, that is very important to analyze, right? So again, all the AI governance and stuff like that should come in. And when we talk about models and data management, the first thing is around data governance. How clean is your data? Do you have a data governance framework? Do you have the data quality? Do you have data lineage? All those things are very, very important. And of course, the regulations also stipulate that. And bias mitigation, how are you mitigating the bias? So if a business is collecting data and giving it, how the data is free from bias? Who is going to certify that? So all those things are very important. And of course, like any other traditional application or a product, we need to do AppSec and other kind of security testing before we do that. So that is very important in model and data management. And when we deploy the solution, okay, you choose the AI product, you have kind of created the model and you want to deploy. Simple, same things, nothing big changes. Proper change management, proper user training. Whoever is going to use the AI, the user training. Periodic feedback mechanisms. The more and more you get data, more and more you get accurate in AI. So how the feedback loop and mechanism works. And of course, the ongoing monitoring. How are you going to monitor it? For example, 5-6 years back, we were behind the robotic process automation, RPAs they call. So in RPAs, they had an RPA command center. They check how many bots are there. In my organization, I've got 50 bots. Whether the 50 bots are running, not running, whether it stopped, how it is handling exception. All those things were calculated and kind of put in over there. So same thing like if AI is running, where is the AI command center? Who is monitoring that AI operation? So all these things are very important. And of course, incident response plan. if an AI suddenly misbehaves, what are you going to do? How are you going to handle the incident? How are you going to kill it? For example, if an application misbehaves or crashes, you say, I will restart the web server, I will restart the database server. Here, what will you do? You want to restart the model or you want to restart the entire data? So all those things are consideration which we have to keep it. And of course, auditing and reviewing. The audit professionals here, we need to understand what is this AI technology is all about, what controls it can bring. If we have to bring it to the organization, how do we audit? So all these things are perspectives to keep in mind, right? The overall lifecycle management, of course, people, process, technology, you see, collect, process data, use a model, verify and validate, deploy and use, operate and monitor. And again, it's again a continuous life cycle which revolves around the life cycle management. If you have a system life cycle, this is the like an SDLC, this is the life cycle management for AI, right? And there are various actors in the life cycle to just kind of brush you who are the people in, right? First is the context. And again, TEVV stands for test, evaluate, verify, validate. So what is the context which we are applying? What is the data input? What model you have chosen? How are you training that model? How are you validating that model? And finally, how are you going to give the application context and the output? And who are the people who are using it? And an impact assessment. So like your business impact assessment, what you conduct for regular application, you have to do an AI impact assessment on the overall solution. Not on the application, but on the overall solution, end-to-end solution, the AI impact assessment. So of course, a lot of standards like ISO 42000 and the European Union AI Act, AIGA, all these things demand you have to do an AI impact assessment. They have got a good checklist and framework, how do we do the AI impact assessment. If someone wants to read it, please, you can go through that, right? And that brings us to you, like, what are the use cases, how do we evaluate, and how do we develop in a simple SDLC approach. Now, what is the risk management framework around AI? How I can build a risk management? So before coming to risk management, first thing you need to understand is you need to have a AI policy, AI governance, roles and responsibilities in the organization, who is going to take the in charge to call out the AI use cases, which board approves it, do you have a change board and stuff like that. So all these things are the major consideration to consider for. And then the risk management framework comes in, same thing, identify, assess, mitigate and monitor, a kind of a regular ISO 31000 risk management framework. And of course, here also you have to identify the risk, prioritize what is the risk, propose controls to kind of do it, and then we have to do a contextual mapping, right? So what are the various risks which can come out of AI? The first thing is around data-related risk, right? What are the learning limitations? What kind of data set and data quality you have? If the data quality and data lineage are not correct, it becomes a big problem. Even in the organizations, even without AI, a lot of organization, if you see, there are gaps around the data governance, data quality, data dictionary. If you ask what is a data dictionary, sometimes people struggle harder. So before embarking the AI journey, you have to fix your data governance framework, and then you can embark so that it becomes easy and you can avoid these risks. AI ML attacks, this is also quite common because, again, AI learns from data, right? If there is kind of a issue in the learning of the data, or your privacy controls are not working, the privacy attacks can happen. So if the privacy attacks happen, it's not only about you lose the PII information, but again, you are introducing a conscious bias into the system. Bias, you're introducing a bias. So imagine a bias being introduced into a healthcare domain or to a banking industry. If you introduce a healthcare domain bias, you will be ending up giving the wrong medicine for a wrong symptom. And in financial industry, you might be turning out the risk score differently. A person who is having a valid case will not get a loan. A person without a valid case will get a loan. These things can happen, right? So that is very important. And again, that is also more associated with the training and data poisoning, where the business team who give you the data has to give it, and someone has to certify that this data is proper and accurate. That is very important. And of course, adversarial inputs and model extraction, keeping the model safe and secure. Whether you are developing a model or someone is developing the model, all those things are very important. And of course, testing plays a key role, and compliance plays a key role. The compliance, which is compliant and which is non-compliant, makes a key difference. So these are the various risks you can. So if you have a risk library in the bank or you're in an organization, like for technology risk, information security risk, you need to consider to have a risk library for AI as well, right? Quickly going on, how do you categorize the AI risk? Categorizing AI risk is also very interesting. So the same formula applies. Likelihood into impact. Risk is equal to likelihood into impact. And of course, the impact, how severe it is, right? So we are talking about not only the technology breakdown or the service breakdown, it can also cause harm to the human, because when AI gets up with IoT and other kind of technologies and architecture, it can even cause a harm to a human individual or a human being, right? So that is very important. And of course, when you do an AI use case evaluation, you need to ensure that the use case evaluation goes through the risk matrix, and then you decide to kind of put it into a model, and you kind of put it into a project. And when you are doing the project, and even during the project and after the release of the project, you need to maintain the AI risk matrix and plot for each use case where is the risk. It can be low, medium, high. It can be a 3x3 scale or a 3x5 scale, depending upon the organization, how do you want to do it. And of course, based on when you bring the risk rating down, then you can say, yes, this case is useful and we can go for production, I can go for operation. That is very important. And again, when you're auditing anything which is an AI product or something associated with an AI solution, these are the parameters what you need to watch out for. You should ask, where is your risk matrix? How have you plotted the slot? All those things, right? Quickly, I just want to bring, this is the last piece, where how do we kind of create the control framework for AI? Of course, it again starts with the strategy and governance. What is my organization strategy and what is a governance? And the bottom ones, whatever you see, are all the regular control domains, what you see from HRM, supplier management, risk and compliance and everything. If you are kind of more into a regulated industry, the regulatory risk also comes under the risk and management, your enterprise architecture. And of course, there is a bigger differentiation, right? One is, if your product, you are buying a black box product powered by AI, or you are getting a solution and you are developing your own AI model. Two things are there. So the control domain should be flexible in such a way that if you are buying a black box product, you should do more supplier due diligence, including the trust of the model, the trust of the data. You have to do a proper risk assessment. If you are buying a black box product, plug and play product, which is powered by AI. Or if you say that, no, I'm going to develop a own thing from my scratch, then you need to have your data validation, model validation, attestation, and things like that. So that is very, very important. And of course, these controls are very consistent and common. For AI also, it remains the same. When we embarked on a cloud journey 5 years back, how we put the model, it's the same thing here. If it is a black box, you will have a supplier, and you have to check all his control using your TPRM or your regular framework. Auditors also need to see this 360-degree angle, how it is coming up, right? It's a simple thing. You have policy, you have a standard, you have a framework. If there is a control issue, how do you assess it, right? I'll share this presentation with ISACA. You can take a look into it. This is a simple way of managing compliance or plotting compliance. If someone wants to do a compliance risk assessment, this is a kind of a model which you can bring it in. Finally, in summary, I just want to kind of take something, okay? Let's not rush to the AI race, right? We have to use some common sense and risk versus benefit analysis. If someone says, I want to embark to AI journey, embark it, but do a proper evaluation and see what is the benefit it can bring to the organization. What kind of operational excellence, what kind of quick customer response, all these things it can bring to the organization. And stakeholder engagement is very important. Your business, operations, marketing, HR, legal, everyone should be kind of involved in it. Data quality is the key. Without proper data quality, whatever AI solution you are going to bring in might not yield the exact input or output. What do you think? And again, of course, once you put it, the performance evaluation of the AI solution, because it works on large language models and stuff like that. So if your database is corrupt or if your database crashes, your service will go for a toss. If an AI service goes for a toss, do you have a business continuity plan to execute that process manually or not? Those things you have to consider. Ethical consideration is very, very important. What is the ethics? What it stands for? Tomorrow, if we build an AI solution and then after few years, someone finds that it is ethically not correct, then it becomes a big disaster and a reputational risk for the organization. That is very important. and documentation transparency, how the validation gets done, and of course you have to embark on the journey of the continuous improvement. So with that, that is the overall spirit on the use cases, the overall life cycle, the existing control framework, what needs to be amended to have an AI risk and control framework. And that's it. Thank you so much. And if there are
Thank you.
questions, I can take it up in the networking break. Thank you so much.
Thank you. That's definitely an insightful session, and especially performing the due diligence on AI black box. With that, I would like to thank Ganeshan Ramani sir for sharing his insights. And to present the memento, I would like to invite former CISA coordinator and public relations member Ashok Vutla, along with GCS Sharma Garu, to present the memento. Thank you.